tea, the letter T and the beverage tea. Cheers. And up in the right hand corner I see a purple heart now. And you should use your whatever color it is of your brain together in an integration. And doing a plug for my first podcast, Ego Netcast. So I will start out and listening here. See if it's streaming. I did a screenshot talking about screensavers and tech TV, and I will come back to that in a minute. Took a screenshot now on this. Now it's vertical instead of horizontal, but I liked very much in before. But it's more and more doing this on TikTok, on streams, on reels, whatever it's called. So it's getting more and more of this. So you're holding the phone this way. Cheers. So I see myself now on Facebook, and it's getting very on the height there. I will see if I so and I yeah we'll see here if it's how it's working then. And I missed to add some hashtags. I had a moment to do that, and then it disappeared. But as I said again, I took a screenshot, and there it said that I would reach about 8,500 or something like that, and it's calculated on distributed and connected this to the destinations like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram now also. I will see when that's working. And now I also added TikTok. I have registered there on TikTok, but I haven't done anything there yet. So it will be interesting and check that later on if it's turned out on TikTok or if I had to do some kind of settings. And now I see here it's 2 viewers watching, and I will be frank and talking about Haps TV. And now it's haps.co, and in the past they still have a domain, but in the past it was haps.tv. So now they are having it's like .cu. Now we'll see here. Now I got some replies on my Twitter account on a question about transcript and for using on a podcast. And I will again listen here. Where on it says on live here. It's on is that live and on Twitter or when I have one. So it's working there too. So then I could check it there. So it's working fine here. So I'll go back to the Facebook Live, and I will open now on my iPad about the title of a topic. One thing that I wonder is could be nice with the clock, with the ticking, TikTok, how much time I spent here, and you investing your time watching this stream. But I don't see that. I click on the 3 dots here. It's a audio settings. I can click there for fun. Echo cancellation, it's on. Stereo audio is off because it's no music, so that you don't know that. And noise suppression is on. That's the audio settings. And then you could flip the camera. That's probably that you will then see my flags there. It was recently, Boston Tea Party celebrating that on December 16th. That happened in Boston in 77.3. Then you could manage viewers and flag and other things like that. And then you could send a chat also. So that's neat. So see what okay. close chat. Yeah, so you could chat probably with individuals there or open. I have to investigate that also in future. As I said, now apps have flipped it and have focused on very much on content creator, especially in music, I think, and other creative arts. Cheers again. And I wonder about the searchability and how to find other content creators out there that are more maybe as a citizen journalist or bloggers, or as you had this on what's it called now? The Twitter bot. Yeah, it will. I will come back to it. Live streaming there on Periscope. Yeah. So it will be interesting how you could distribute on different destinations, but also the question is, and that's the missing piece, the missing puzzle piece, or missing link that I wrote here on my to-do things for the week here, using notebook by Lindus Ululu in Sweden. And there, that's why I used this. Now I'm rambling here. The title, Tech TV and the screensavers. So it's a bit of nostalgia here. And I will read from Wikipedia. It was a TV show about tech, especially on about technology and computers and other things like that. And screensavers, depending on how old you are, and back in the day you used often the screensaver. You could have that now also as a fun thing, but that should save a screen, so it's not, they said, excuse me, not burn into the screen or the monitor. So it said that after time, the screensaver was starting, so it will not burn into the monitor. But then it was more like a fun thing to have. And you see it still now that you could have at different patterns and like algorithms was doing cute things and interesting things and colorful things on your screen. So that was the name, Screensavers. And Tech TV, I will see it started in '98 by Ziff Davis publication. That's interesting here is how they said the height of this 6-year run, they had broadcast in 70 countries and reached 43 million households and claimed 1.9 million unique visitors monthly to its website. And what I think is interesting here, and that's why I will continue with this show and also my work as a new media advisor, to find your personality and your voice, your why, etc., and your purpose. And that's, for me, it's spreading better ideas when it comes to new media, business philosophy, and the good life, including tea. But it was very focused on personality-driven product reviews. So you did your take on it, adding your 2 cents in a personal way. And I thought it was fascinating to see and watch that on TV. And then one of the things that come up of this was, and that's a fellow podcaster, Leo Laporte. That's why I have his name, like a tribute or homage to Laporte, Leo Laporte. That he said, I am an Apple fanboy, as you probably know. But back in the day with the iPod, that you have this MP3 player, then when they said it was podcasters, they at Apple headquarters said that they think that they shouldn't be able to use the word pod because we have the iPod. And then Leo Laporte came up with the idea about calling podcasting or podcasts something else, and then he said netcast. But this word hasn't catched on. Even in Swedish, it's pod radio with PODD radio. So podcast, pod radio. And it's a capsule, and there you probably have this pod player. MP3 player was a capsule, and you encapsulate something. And then you have a broadcast and narrowcast. But netcast, I think, because even with podcasts that you have an MP3 player, often you are using the net in one way or another. If you have it on your mobile, you're connecting on the net in order to stream it, download it somehow in the cloud or whatever. And you could also listen to podcast with a web site or like a web podcast player that you have on the hosting platform and click play on a website. So netcast, and that it also could be video, for example, is a bit broader name of podcast. So again, but that's the thing, how it develop and how it stick or not. I like the tech TV history and how it turned out into Twit TV with Leo Laporte with podcast network. And then you have lots of show personalities that I go through and see what they are up to now. So it's interesting historical piece of history with if you're interested in tech. And also I will tell about the Swedish tech TV program back in the day that had a long run, and it was so amazing to watch that. It was a man there that had that Bergsten, Mr. Bergsten, and he explained tech in a very, for layman, in a nice way, in a good way, in a non-technical way. And it was also fascinating. He had one episode, one TV show about computers and the big mainframe computers and what it could do and so on. And this was back in the day. So it's funny how long it have what's happened during these years, and with internet, the interwebs coming, and now I could sit here and talk to you, and you could interact in different ways, comment, giving thumbs up, high fives, purple hearts, and so on. I have sent a request to the folks and the team at HAPS. In the future, could you have personalized like hearts? I could have, for example, a brain, or you could have real money like silver coins or gold bars would be nice to have, like a token of appreciation that you give. Again, thumbs up, high fives, and the HAPS coins. So if you sign up for these HAPS for free, you get 100 coins. They haven't changed the terms now when they have done this, you could say, developing and also pivoting, and also how they see where the market is. As Adam Tinkoff said, my co-host of High Five for Hemp, but all this vertical usage of content through a smartphone, like TikTok, Instagram Reels, Snapchat, I think, and others, is getting more and more in this way, horizontal, and you're holding the hand. Of course, you could flip it if you want to watch a movie, whatnot. Still, YouTube has that, and Twitch, but other things is going. And Adam, he gave me a tip to check out Reddit, and they have live streaming there, and it has become very popular. So again, the searchability, see, and also the timing. I will continue with this regular schedule now when I see that this is working. It's a thin purple line that's blinking in a way. I see myself, and hopefully you hear me good, and also see me good. I think it's. And I have, as I said, an old phone, smartphone, iPhone 6s Plus. And I have it because now I could have cable here, like, or I have a recording podcast. I have a small microphone, IK Multimedia iRig. So I like that, and also, of course, when you listen to music, podcast, or audiobooks, to have something with the cable. This is a Swedish brand called Plattan, the square, or I have this round. It's round, but it's square. And this is a beat up one that is, how to say, reinforced in different ways. But it's working well, and also you have this microphone in an easy way. But I will do a reach out there to an agent, you could say, for a brand, a good brand, when it comes to podcasting, but also for live streaming and other things like that. See if I could sponsor me in some way, or if I could get a good deal of this equipment, because I want to have, this is what I got for, I think, a magazine subscription, BPM, and they should be like noise cancellation, so they're very comfortable to listen to on when you listen to audiobook. So, but it's no wires, it's Bluetooth, and that's working to listen to, like monitoring the sound. But to use it for recording podcast on long distance, then the technology with Bluetooth is not catching up with the recording quality. So that's something for the future, how Bluetooth would better in the technology, or if it's something in the air, so it's hard to do anything about it. The one that I have so far is PreSonus. That's for monitoring, and it's a good cable, but I think something is with the connection here, so it maybe has been broken. So I have to look into that, because that's good when you're recording, helping clients and recording in the same room and monitoring, or when you're doing your own solo shows or long distance recording. You can have, this is costs very simple ones, but I often use them when I'm doing the editing of podcasting, in order to listen how it will listen sound for the listeners, because often you could maybe sit on a with a simple headset on a tram or a bus or commuting or whatever, or have a noise in the background doing other things, cleaning or doing the dishes or walking out with a dog or cat or whatever. So when it's interesting to see how it will sound for the general listener. Cheers again. And I want to try to have this short and sweet, but it's easy for me to ramble on, and hopefully you like my style. So I will continue now with this, doing this. Tomorrow I have important recording to do for a new client, and then, so I don't know exactly when it will be, but otherwise it will be on Wednesday wrap. Now it's really wrapping up the year here now. So I will talk about my Trig Life Mapper calendar I'm planning for next year, talking about how this year have been, in different ways. And then on Thursday, Thunder, 9 a.m., I often had comment on a article in The Economist. It could be something on the internet here. And then on Friday, Fun, Friday Follow, celebrating, starting the weekend. Could be something fun there. And that will be around 6 p.m. also, Central European time. And then on Saturday, it's noonish time, around noon, 12. And then having a siesta, Saturday siesta. It's fun to play with this. You have a double words with the same letter. And then again on Tuesday Tech, Three Things Tech. And now they've been a bit mixed here, if it's really three things or it's more or less. But the missing piece there, missing link, is to create your own hub. This is rented space in a way by HAP, so if they change their terms of service, rules, whatnot, especially like Facebook and others are doing, I will continue to be on Facebook, but I have my issues with their issues in a way, deplatforming, about the privacy, data, how I collect them, and also how it triggers the dopamine thing and how you get served in a certain way, in like these filter bubbles also. So that's one thing, but I will still continue with Facebook because I like the personal touch of it and to stay in touch with friends and other things like that. And Instagram, owned by Facebook, I'll continue because I see my passion projects and my hobbies and interest there, for example, with tea and others, chili peppers, pen and papers is nice to find there. But when you have all these, especially now on YouTube, this like button, you have plus, see how many likes, but no dislike, and that's good, I think. But it's always counting, and that's coming this trigger again. Could be a negative trigger. Of course, here also like 2 views, it could be more, it could be less, and how many will watch it when it's recorded also. And then you have LinkedIn for professional, for business to business, and so on. There they creating their formula and algorithm and how to get in tuned and log in and getting notification, tagged, mentioned, and served content according to an algorithm also. And it could be all stressful. I have talked about this book by Brian Solis, Life Scale. I recommend you to check it out. Life Scale by Brian Solis. But again, the missing piece, what could that be? A piece of a puzzle. It is your own hub, like your own website with a blog, a newsletter that you get this permission by people signing up, readers signing up, and then the podcast that you could listen to. But there you have how will you reach out, get new subscribers to your newsletters, because it's so many newsletters out there. What could I add to the thing, to the mix? I subscribe to hundreds of newsletters. Do I read every one of them, every issue? No. Will my subscriber read every issue of mine? I'm not sure. But I have a small number now, but I see also the potential with it. It's like a gold mine in a positive way. And you're doing your thing, and it's for yourself to curate things, but also remind your fans, followers, etc. And then you could come up with new things and repeat. So newsletter there, but again, how to reach them, how to open rate, how to interact, and also with the data, the GDPR and privacy issues, and like open the links and so on. And then podcasting, how will you reach new listeners and keep the base that you have and get them consuming your content and then interact again. And this BNP, it's a acronym in Swedish for gross domestic product. And then of course I have personal issues how you calculate this with countries. For example, they say like China have been double digits. What will that happen in the future, and at what cost or what price, and how are they doing it? There you have a freedom of expression, an issue there, freedom of speech. What will happen in the future? That's something also to how to so-called control the internet. It's some big players out there that I defend morally and the free market. But it's also, if you try to so-called live out the big, is it 5? That's pretty hard. So I also look out for alternative services and new players, new market players, and I want to support entrepreneurs and doing a trade value for value. So that's why I'm looking into this Podcasting 2.0 initiative by podcastindex.org. And I'm writing a draft on that, on a piece that I will provide to a hosting company. See what they like about that. and learn more about that, because in the future, and maybe that will happen with the apps. Now you could give coins and thumbs up and high fives. In the future, you could stream something called satoshis, and that's pieces, small pieces of a Bitcoin. So like one Bitcoin, a satoshi is 100 million parts of a Bitcoin, so it's pretty small. So it's like cents or ören in Swedish that you could get if somebody's streaming. And right now, they say it's around 4 million podcasts on registered on Podcast Index, and then it's again how many are active. I think it's like 500,000, they say, after 90 days or something like that. So maybe more figure, a couple of 100,000, but that's still big. And it's even after how many years now? I started to had that in 2004, and I started in 2006. So it's plenty of years have passed now, but still it's new in a way. Like 50% out there maybe don't know about what is a podcast or not listen on a regular basis. You have a potential. So like a couple of thousand podcasters out there now using this podcasting 2.0 applications where you could support indie podcasters and other content creators in this flow. So, for example, the jingle maker, doing the bumper and the jingle, setting the tune, setting the tune off for your life, and when you're starting, listening to a podcast of expectations, getting in the right mood, so to speak, and then ending with a good note. So, and artwork, creating the album, the logotype, you could say, for the podcast, and it could be other ones, partners in this workflow of creating a podcast. So that you could support in different ways. So that I'm looking into. And where we come is, and now I've again babbled on for some time here, cheers. Maybe around half an hour. So there is this one thing that I can contact with, thanks to listen to a podcast called Digital Marketing in Swedish by Tony Hammarlund. And he had a conversation with a guy called Niklas Lohman of Heartland. That's HAAART and then land. It's like a heartland. For example, like America. You see the map, for example, of the voting and election, the left side, left coast or west coast, and the east coast, where I studied. There you have it's blue color, so it's often democratic, but it's lots of population there. But the heartland, most of it is red, and that's Republican. But together with about how the electoral college is working, and also how it could tip over and so on, it's interesting to see that on a map it looks like, I think it was when it was Bush and Al Gore, you saw that. And then you had this, what is happening in Florida with the voting, with the paper thing that they didn't calculate or count or whatever, or it was something malfunction with the machinery. There you had this tipping point, a big state that fall to the other side, so to speak, that they have calculated before. So that's something to call them. But also the heartland, the Midwest, what I'm working in, feet on the ground, farmer country and rural areas, and that take lots of space. And in Sweden you have that also. I'm on the west coast here, the second largest city, Gothenburg, and then you have the east capital city Stockholm, and in the south you have Malmö. But most part of Sweden is so-called the northern part, northern region, that big part of Sweden. So you could call about that the heartland. Heart and brain together, mind and body and spirit. and integration. So there they have a tool for online communities, positive communities. You could have a forum, and back with the tech TV and other things like that, I could imagine that you had like this forum, digital forums that you asked a question and then got an answer from somebody, user, and then you had this thread, commenting thread. You have different sections and different areas. With this community tool, you could have discussion, you could have polls, voting, sharing images. You can also have private messages with conversations with other users, and you could do all kind of things. And they have an interesting idea of how, if you create great content and get participants engaged in this community voluntarily, that you do an active choice and logging in, then you have an interest, because it's this, you could say, average revenue per user in one way or another. Facebook, it's free, and it is free, but they're collecting data, they are mining, they are supplying you with ads that I think is relevant. And same thing with YouTube. It's free, but they are collecting the data. They are putting out ads there, and that huge like revenue for them. We call it Swedish kassako, like the stash of money and the cow. They are milking that in their way. And it also, as Facebook and others, it's like a walled garden with fence. You have to log in there. This is another way, but you decide by yourself voluntarily. Of course, you did that at the beginning with Facebook also. Nobody forced you to join your Facebook. But and this is like going back in the time and day with the online forums, like the bulletin boards, BBS, the interrelay chat, and other things like that. But with Heartland, it's using what you're used to, like Facebook Messenger and or Slack and others, but in a very nice user interface. Again, it's to get this habit of logging in and doing an active choice, and value this conversation that you could have with other users, and adding your 2 cents to the conversation. And so I'm all for it, and that's this piece, the so-called missing link, that's already have been there, but now it's what that could be in order to what's in it for you as a user of a community, online community, and the one that's starting a community. And how could you have sponsors and advertising that are relevant to the users of the platform and the online forum. So I'm looking into this, and I'm learning the ropes, and testing out now with my first one is teaparty.media for my online and offline activities, like online social media activities and offline networking activities, and having it one place, and it's my place that I started, and then people who value my knowledge, my skills, my experiences, having this exchange. And I'm valuing thinking individuals that want to come to this place, and then you will have other participants and partners that will be interesting in this place because it's relevant for their business or whatnot. So this is very interesting, and again, it will take time to build it step by step, but also how to doing this friendly invitation system, and people to start thinking about this. And this is something, together with podcasting 2.0, that I will focus on and spend lots of time and effort that you will think about this, reflect on this, on the privacy issue, on way of expression, freedom of expression, doing your thing, create something, value and have an exchange, value for value. So with that, I say thanks for watching and listening, and stay tuned for new things happening here on HAPS and on my blog, that upcoming, forthcoming, teaparty.media, and then the podcast, and then newsletter. And then I see here now somebody saying hello, and on my screen here, talking about screensavers on my phone, it's a bit hard to watch, but I will go back, so say that later on. So hello, I will try to send chat there. Hello. So done. So thanks for showing up here. You explained about new network. Yes, Vanita Breland. Now I see your name clearly here. Yes, and the network is called Heartland. HAAARTLAND. It's built in the Nordic taste flavor. Yes, it's now say join chat. So it's HAAARTLAND, and hopefully you see that. So it's H and then 3 A's, AAARTLAND. Yes, correct. And they have an interesting twist of it. I looked at others, like for example, I'm a member of Fizzle, and that will be one, you could call it internal sponsor of my podcast shows and so on, because I enjoy it very much. There you have a value. I pay $39, I think, per month. And then you join for often the courses like how to create a blog, how to market yourself, how to have customer conversation, how to have a business idea, business plan, marketing, etc., but also the personal development as an entrepreneur. And there you have lots of videos and courses and so on. But you often stay for the community, the online forum, but you have interesting conversations with fellow online content creators. So there it is, and they have created their own tool. Corbett Barr, he has created something called Palapa, and it's like, Palapa is the word for like if you have a house or a place out on the beach with a floor and then have a roof, and it's open on the side, so it's for the sun, against the sun, and if it will rain, but and a bit safety, but also open. So it's an open place, but you have some protection. So that's one tool. And they have one model with active users, you pay per month. And there is another called Mighty Networks, and it's another one. And you have lots of different ones out there. Cheers. What I like and think is interesting, if you want to start on a small budget, or this, you call it this, how to say, lace with a bootstrapping. You could start for free, and then they're interested in the long run to try find sponsors, and that you could be ambassador for, or representative, or referral, that will like what is creating on that community and want to be there as relevant advertising, marketing, like deals, whatever message. So, and then you will get a piece of a cake there, of the revenue. So they have a split of, and that you have to check for the details. It's 70 for you and 30 to them in order to run this, because it's lots of technology. Talking about Tuesday Tech and Tech TV, it's lots of technology in this. This platform and this tool is really easy to use, easy to start. I started in a few minutes. Then, of course, it's to have lots of have details, and then again it's the content. I started it around Christmas, and now I have taken time off, spending time with relatives, friends, families, and so on, and relaxing and yeah, taking time off. But then it's to set it in motion and get others, participants and users also shipping in and adding content, and you have meaningful conversations. And then that will attract sponsors, advertisers, partners that want to be in this. And there, when it will generating, then it will be worth your time, what's in it for you, and what's it, and also the users would like the relevant marketing. So that's a great tool and idea. And then you could have also pay. They have a middle tier, and you pay for if you have for like an organization, and then you have another one that's a bigger tiers, and then it's more similar to the price. You could say pricing package, but you have other so-called competitors out there. But it's space for everyone here in a way, and test what you like. And it is only a tool, but the idea that they have is, I like that it is with a twist. So thanks again, Vanita Breland, for asking a question, and check them out. And you could say, if you want, say hi from me. So I will include also later on when it's recorded, and adding a link to that to my community there, online community, and it's t-party-media.heartland.com, or search for it. They have their own app also, so that's a nice thing, a feature. You have featured communities, like new communities, active communities, and different topics. So there you could see, and then mine is open, but you could also have a closed one or private one or a hidden one if you want. But then you could have that you sign, you could say it is a contract, like a common contract, a social contract. What's in it for you, creators, and also the ones that joins, that create content and adding their 2 cents to the conversation. What do they want to get out of it, and what will they bring to the table? It is like a, you could say, potluck conference, that you bring your own stuff, bring your own beer, bring your own, cheers, tea, bring your own ideas, thoughts, and have an exchange, a voluntarily exchange between thinking individuals. So I think it's a neat way, and I will again spend time, invest time in this, building something new. But the idea is old in a way. As I said, when I started a business center and a cafe in a physical location in Gothenburg called Blue Chip Cafe, I had read an article in The Economist about internet in the cup was the article, and there it was on the how they had these coffee houses back in the day. So you went to a special coffee house, served coffee, or maybe in my tea I could have a tea also, to joke. And there you got the latest, maybe gossip, maybe news, and things coming up in that field, that type of coffee place that you went to. So I could imagine, for example, one coffee place in London were for shipping industry, the maritime industry, the brokers, the insurance companies, companies with goods, and also, of course, shipping, building companies. And there, in 1745, somebody ran into and opened the door and said, "Have you heard the news?" And maybe rang a bell saying, "The ship, the Oost Indian man, Gothenburg, has gone down or sunk, or something happened with an accident." And then people were thinking, what will happen with my cargo? What will be the insurance? rate for this now in the future? How will the auction be if it's going in the sea, into the sea? How should we save the ship, etc., etc. Then you had a discussion, and that's how you got the update to things. So another one was the exchange with financial people and capitalist traders and brokers in different ways, buying and selling commodities. So that's how one of the London exchange started. Another one could be like people interested in fundamental ideas, authors, artists, and others, and they were going to one coffee house place. And that you could do also online now for a special interest, an idea for a brand, etc. So again, thanks for watching and listening, and thanks Vanita Breland for your comment and your question, and stay in touch and stay tuned, and talk to you soon again. Cheers for now. Bye.